Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Russia hacked the election.
Let's be clear, Russia hacked the election.
Definitively, Russia hacked the election, and Russia is doing it again now.
The head of the National Security Agency, the head of the FBI, all of these intelligence experts saying Russia hacked the election.
The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the former Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, I mean, they've all said this. So to believe that that's wrong, you have to believe they're all involved in an elaborate conspiracy to get Donald Trump, which seems a little far-fetched to me.
Joining me now, the great David Bozell of the MRC, president of the MRC, the Media Research Center. Okay, David, obviously the media was complicit in pushing that out to the public. But a question I have for you, because you would know this far better than I would, why? Is it just that they're all a bunch of crazy libs? Is it that they work hand in hand with the ugly agencies of this country? Why did they all fall in line immediately?
Ends justify the means for the left. It's an important principle, but they live and die by it. And when you have control over these major apparatuses of government, sometimes you do things that you don't, that no normal person would think. I'm going to engineer the entire federal government apparatus against a businessman who just threw his hat into the ring and just so happened to win the presidency. And this was also legacy preservation on Obama's part. He had, remember, at the time, Republicans had been pledging to repeal Obamacare, replace Obamacare, and undo his entire presidency. 8 years of work. And we live in the executive order era, Jesse. Congress does very little, passing 1-2 bills a year. So when you live in the executive order era, the presidency becomes infinitely more important. So when you have those government tools at your disposal and you want to preserve your legacy, and you know that the guy coming up behind you is going to undo it, you're going to get tempted to do some unruly things to trip them up at a minimum. The media spent over 2,000 minutes claiming exactly in that montage what you just saw, guys, that the Russians were guilty of hacking into the election. I would use their claim that they use against President Trump all the time. Those were baseless accusations. Time and time again. So 2,000 minutes devoted to this hoax. And when the president suggests that the media is the enemy of the people, this is the story that he's talking about. This right here is the #1 story that he's talking about, because he knew in his gut that Russia never helped him, never moved one single solitary vote in his direction. He knew it, and he knew that they knew it, and he knew that they were lying. And so when he calls the press the enemy of people, in front of his crowds with the press behind the rope lines and all those things, this is the story that he's talking about, Jesse.
David, so the ends justify the means. Obviously, you're correct about that. You can't come to any other conclusion, but if you're Jake Tapper, any one of those people, it doesn't matter, any one of those people on every channel, and you sit down and you push a lie like the incoming president or current president, depending on the date, he's only there because of Russia, and you know it's a lie. How do you sleep at night and think that you're the good guy in that story? I just don't understand. I can't wrap my mind around that. Even people I hate, and I hate all kinds of people, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I don't think they sleep. I don't think they think that they're the good guy in this story. And I don't think that even crosses their mind. For them, when you have Trump derangement syndrome, which is what a number of them had developed at this particular time, when you believe your own talking points, that democracy is at risk because a New York real estate developer had assumed the presidency. When you start believing that in your head and going to the caviar and wine cocktail parties night after night after night, and that's all that your buddies can talk about, this is the kinds of things that you'll end up doing. This is why they won't cover it now. They would have to admit their complicity in the whole scam. And so, again, like I said, you had over 2,000 minutes devoted to this as the so-called scandal was unfolding. Now I think we've counted up. They're close to 5 minutes, so far, something like that, through this week. So, so cover it now would to admit their own culpability in this whole deal. And they also they were addicted to power too. These are basic human emotions, right? And so they were addicted to being close to President Obama. President Obama was the cool kid on the political block, right? He was a cool kid in town. He had been senator for just a year. Then he rises rapidly to become the president. And every facet of the Washington press corps needed to get in with him, needed to get in with his people. His people had descended on Washington from Chicago. They needed to cover him glowingly. And as those 8 years developed, they developed all those friendships and relationships. And that's how, when you see Trump as the successor and he's pledged to overturn and undo your entire legacy, they went guns out, guns blazes to destroy President Trump.
All right, you say they're addicted to power, and obviously that's correct, but aren't they losing it because, in large part because of things like this? That people are, you guys talk about this all the time with the wonderful MRC. Yeah. People are changing the channel. The ratings are going down. We're seeing such a hemorrhaging of money that people are getting fired. The power, because they abused it, is being taken from them. How can they not see that?
Yeah, it's a tough deal to equate. So yeah, the ratings are sinking like a stone. CNN lost 50% of its audience from the 2020 election night to the 2024 election night. 50%. This is the adult audience. Just the cratering. The networks are cratering. CBS is essentially through Paramount, the takeover from Skydance. They face quite a bit of upheaval in their news operation, and what's going to happen there is going to be anybody's guess. So yes, the ratings are cratering. However, I was just looking at readership charts from the top news websites in America. New York Times is still number one ranked news website in America. Now, a lot of people are going to play Wordle and crossword puzzles, and that explains it, but they're still number one. Google News, Apple News, Microsoft, MSN.com. These guys are all in the top 10 of readership nationwide. All of these networks, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, Washington Post, New York Times, all these people, all these operations that perpetrated this hoax are embedded in Microsoft, Google, and Apple's news presentation. So millions upon millions of people are still reading this and digesting their presentation of the news, albeit headlines aggregated. But it's and not watching these guys. People are not going to anchors and homepages for the news anymore. They're going to aggregators now. So these networks have embedded themselves into the big tech apparatus. You'll go on Google News, go on Apple, I dare anybody, go on Yahoo, the big aggregators. It'll be all the liberal networks, one after the other, after the other, after the other. Then they'll squeeze in a Fox, right? Maybe they'll squeeze in a Breitbart, and then there'll be one after the other, of more liberal networks, more liberal reporting. So it's very negative against Republicans. It's very negative against Trump. And this is why, now he uses it to his political advantage, right? No Republican has ever used hatred by the media to their political advantage as well as President Trump. And I would actually submit that that's why he's a two-time president, because he's done that so well.
So it sounds like what we're looking at is a facade. They have more clicks, they have more ratings, they have more readership because just like these dirty communists always do, they're just working together. They're working together. Google is going to hold up the New York Times. Microsoft is going to hold up Yahoo. They're all going to work together.
Yeah, they had their believability rate. I think Gallup had the latest one was in April. It's in the low 30s. I think Pelosi has a better approval rating than some of these liberal networks, believe it or not. So they're in the believability rate is in the toilet. I think almost half the country has statistically no trust in the media. I think that number is around 44%. That's half the country that has no trust in any media whatsoever. It's because these guys who are dominating the airwaves by quantity and dominating our social feeds and our aggregator feeds also by quantity have been wrong and purposely wrong for the better part of the last 8 to 10. Covering first for the Obama administration and then just dogging the Trump administration and then trying to sell us this hooker with a heart of gold routine that Joe Biden was walking around, no problem, healthy, totally acute, totally on it, no problem holding the nuclear football, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why these guys have no trust anymore within the American public writ large. It's a terrific opportunity for shows such as yourself or networks like The First to just squeeze through and come forward with the truth. People are dying for a fair presentation of the news. So it's a terrific opportunity for the center-right ecosystem to shine here.
David, thank you for what you do, man. Appreciate you.